outside is not that cold, and if you take my hand, I'll walk with you to Georgia.
Hello everyone and welcome to Country with Celine. My name is Celine Shamarki, and on today's episode we have Ben Chase.
Climb up in my truck, girl, let me take you somewhere, riding in the country, if you wanna go there. Clean up the truck, girl, got it looking pretty, kinda be ashamed though not to get it dirty. And later on tonight, if it's feeling right, just the two of us can make a little love in my truck, girl.
Ben, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. Okay, so first things first, latest single, Say Goodbye Slow, released that in September of 2021. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Wow, it's crazy how quick 3 months goes by, or
Yeah,
October, November, December, January, 4 months. Yeah, it's crazy. It was like kind of right in the middle of the kind of right after the summer, released that single, and then it's just like, wow, Christmas is already over. So I'm feeling like time's flying, but I'm feeling good about it. It's still doing really well for me, and yeah, people are still really digging it and excited for what's next.
We both knew you were just passing through there, leaving. Looks good on you. I had no chance. Got wrapped up in your hands. We were moving so fast, I can barely understand how a mark on me is all you're gonna leave. But let's make one last memory. We got the night before you're gonna go. I can't change your mind, so I guess we gotta say goodbye slow.
I feel like that was the perfect song to release to in September, because I was looking at the lyrics of the song, and it's basically describing like a fling, as you can say, and like they both know that it has to come to an end, and that's usually when everybody has those type of things in the summer.
Yeah.
And then September comes, everybody kind of goes back to wherever they're from, or they start up a new job. So I think that was the perfect song to release in September, I should say.
Yeah, thank you. That was very strategically planned. We were picking like when we were gonna release which song, and that was definitely for as soon as summer is over release. Being from PEI, that just like it's such a tourist place. You ever been out to PEI before?
No, I haven't. Honestly, the only place I've ever been to in Canada is Ontario. That's it.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure this will bring you through lots of journeys. But hopefully anyway. And if you get the chance to come to PEI, you'll see it's just in the summer, it's just so touristy, and there's people from all over the world here in the summer, and also a lot of students who live away, like, or like who work with myself. Like, even if I'm in the States, I'm always coming home for the summers because it's so nice in the beaches here. So I love to be able to come here, especially in the summertime. So it just like very suiting being from a tourist town.
Well, I've only ever heard like good things about the East Coast. I keep hearing that it's so beautiful over there, and it's definitely on a bucket list of mine to definitely head over there, because I feel like there's so much to see. And it's nice too, because it's like a smaller town over there. Like there's not a lot of people like anywhere
No,
on the East Coast. It's really small. There's like small towns everywhere, rather than you come to Ontario and like Toronto. It's just like, okay,
exactly.
millions of people here. It's nice to it would be really nice to grow up in a small town. I mean, coming from a city girl, I would have loved to experience that. So from my side looking in, I mean, that's really awesome that you're from a small town. I mean, I would feel so grateful if I were you.
Yeah, I feel like it helps writing country songs when you're from a small town sometimes. You just do a lot of country things growing up. I'm more of a what I would call I'm not a cowboy. I'm what I call a saltwater cowboy, because I come from a lobster fishing community, and we grew up fishing. Like it's all fishing communities here. So we're a different type of cowboys. We're saltwater cowboys, and but it's just like being from a small town. It's just funny coming back here and stuff. And I was just thinking when you're saying that, actually, you saying you're from Ontario. I lived in Calgary for 3 years. Right out of high school, I moved to Calgary for a little bit, and to kind of pursue music a bit. And everybody out there, when you say you're from the East Coast, there was always somebody who would say, "Oh, from like Ontario." Like people just thought that. I'm like, there's so much more. Like,
Yeah.
or if you're saying I'm from out east, they would think you meant Ontario, and it's like you just got to go a little bit farther, and you can get to past Quebec. Then you hit the 4 Atlantic provinces, and it just kind of that's the real coast.
I feel like everybody kind of stops in Ontario. It's like you either know Ontario or you know Alberta or BC, and like that's about it. That's like where people
Yep,
travel. Um,
absolutely.
Now you were just mentioning cowboys. Okay, so this is kind of off topic here. Yellowstone, have you watched it?
I haven't, but my mom and dad are addicted to it, and I'm home for the holidays right now, and it seems I always see them watching it in the evenings. I've watched like one episode, but I'm not a big TV show guy. Never really been, so I never really got into it. I'm more of a sport. I sit down and watch the Leafs play, so
Oh,
I'm usually more content with that.
okay, that's fair. I mean, the Leafs. I'm from Ontario, from Toronto, and
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't get mad at me saying that because I'm a diehard.
oh, you're a diehard Leafs fan?
Oh yeah, like one of
Oh,
the most diehards you'll ever meet.
I feel so sorry for you. I feel
It's
so.
all right. It's been a tough few years.
It's yeah. It's this playoffs that just happened. I have no words, like no words, and I'm sure you have absolutely no words either. That was
Yep, exactly. I don't
hopefully.
even want to think about it.
No, I know. Hopefully this year it will go more in the Leafs' favor. But honestly, who knows? It's up to the hockey gods at this point.
Absolutely.
And now just going back to some music here. So back in June, your music hit 1 million overall streams. So first of all, coming from a small town and being an independent artist, how emotional was that for you? Because that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, that was really cool. It's just like it's kind of like a bit unbelievable at times, like just to think that like people would press play on your music a million times. Like we all kind of just do this and hopes for songs to kind of take off and stuff. And it was a process. Like um I released a couple songs did really well for me, and then it was just kind of all going up, and then the pandemic hit and just kind of like it literally feel like I was just going up, and then everything just crushed right when I was just starting to gain some momentum. And it was like a year of no music and then starting to release again. And I know so I was releasing the new stuff, that the old stuff was picking up again. So people were hearing about me again and listening to the old stuff. And eventually the streams were growing and we were watching, and obviously we hit the 1 million mark, which is pretty cool. Yeah, like you said, just being completely independent. I do, I'm a, I'm a marketing, I love marketing. So I love working on my own stuff. I love planning my releases. I love picking the songs. So it's kind of like being the business side of the whole thing too. I love considering myself a small business, and it's just like, it's a big achievement for my business to see it hit. The people would listen to what I can provide for them a million times, I guess.
Well, on a brighter note, let's talk new music. What can people expect this year?
Well, I got a single I'm gonna drop here real soon. Like I said, it's always in the timing. Like we were saying, we're trying to strategically pick the songs and when we're going to. So I do think I will have a single around Valentine's Day, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And I have a couple things up the sleeve that I can't tell yet. But I will say that I'm gonna have something real special happen this year for the first time in my music career. So that's the biggest hint I can give out right now.
That's still exciting. That still sounds really
Yeah,
exciting.
it's gonna be a real big year for us as far as releasing music. I've written so many songs in the last 2.5 years ago. I was always a songwriter, and and it was always something I liked to do, but I never really took it as serious until our live shows got cut out. And then I was like, well, what am I going to do with my time? So I moved back home to PEI for the pandemic, and I was doing exactly what we're doing on Zoom all the time, writing songs. And we got to like the level where we wrote like, I've been a part of writing over 200 songs in the last 2.5 years now. So it's like, and obviously not just for myself, like I have a lot of like cuts with other artists and stuff, which is also so cool. So it's, as a writer, as an artist, it's just been a really cool year of growth. But it's just like, I know now that I'm just ready to, instead of just write a song like, oh, this is good, I'm going to chuck it out, I really get to strategically pick what songs would fit, and put a project together maybe, and go from there, and just kind of look through what I have. And yeah, it's been really cool.
Well, the past 2 years, it's actually been 2 years, I think, of this like ongoing pandemic over here.
It has.
A lot of artists like yourselves have gotten the chance to develop their craft even more. And like, I know so many artists who I've spoken to, and they're like, oh, we just wrote all year long. Like I have like 100 songs, 200 songs. Like I wrote an extra 50. It's like, honestly, if you really look back, like take a step back, it is kind of like a blessing in disguise. Like when you want to think of the positive side of things, it's like a blessing. Like everybody got to develop their craft, whether it be an artist, like a singer,
Yeah,
or a painter, or so on and so forth. Like everybody got to develop their craft or take up something that they never would have taken up before. So I mean,
absolutely.
it was like a blessing, although it sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah.
But still, you got to think of the positive side of things. So that's awesome that you wrote all those songs. Like, wow. I don't know how the heck you did that. I don't know how you guys
Yeah, it was.
think about all those different, like, how do they even come to you? How do songs come?
It's always in the process, I guess. Like I'm a big listener for double meaning things. That's one of people know me for that, and it's probably because I love dad jokes. I always got dad jokes up my sleeves, and so I can hear things like that, and I'll hear some, but not like a dad joke. I'll hear like something like, oh, that could be used this way, and that can make the song really cool, and I'll write it down. And this is something I usually bring to the table as a writer. It's like these, whoa, I never look at it that way kind of thing. But yeah, it's all come together that way, and yeah, like you said, it's just been a blessing just to take some time to focus on the craft. Like I moved to Alberta when, like I said, when I was 18, and right away I was thrown into like the circuit out there where my band and I were playing like every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'd leave at
Yeah.
9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, and I drive 7 hours from Calgary Grand Prairie for the weekend, and we play Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and then I drive home Sunday, and I'd be leaving on Thursday again. So I don't really have like 3 days off during the week. And sure, I was working my craft on like performing and playing with the band and stuff, but it's like you get home for those 3 days. It's kind of like was more like my weekend, and it was hard to stay motivated to write. But now it's like, well, if I wanted, I could pull an Eric Church here and release 3 albums, a triple album. So now it's just been nice just to have the material and also realize how much I like it and work on, like they say, it's like a muscle, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just like you work on it and grow it, and like anything, and just get better at it. And now I'm just excited just to get back to Nashville and just keep writing and writing. And it's one of probably like my favorite, most thing I'm excited for in 2022 is like the songs I'm going to write this year. I'm excited to see what they turn out like.
Well, you know what? I want to get to know you a lot more now because everything you said was very interesting. So you were saying that you grew up in a small town on the East Coast, correct?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
correct.
you wanted to pursue like this career, this music career. Was it something that you knew you always wanted to pursue?
Always.
Always,
Always.
ever
Yeah.
since you're a little boy?
Oh yeah, always. There's no other option. So right out of high school, I graduated high school in 2015, and then I took a year off and just kind of worked on stuff, and I went right to college for 2 months, and I was like, this is not what I want to do, and I was like, I just can't do it. So I did 2 months of the program, and that was it. I packed up. I got a call from a friend who offered me to have me pretty well booked every weekend as a booking agent, and I was like, yeah, I'm in, count me in. So that was it. I quit college and I packed up my bags, and I have a story that it's been on social media a bit, but my student loan that year was $5,800, and that's what I had left to pay because I went to school. I took out a loan and everything, and I drove across country. And I was whatever. I was like 18, and I've never gambled before. And I went to my roommate was a gambler, and he said, "Hey, do you want to come out to the casino with me?" It was New Year's Eve, and I wasn't gigging. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I broke, just quit college, right? Like I was like, oh, this is terrible. I'm broke, like college dropout. And I was like, I'll play $20. Didn't know what I was doing. I put in a machine and I won exactly $5,800. And it was just like a weird, like, this is meant to happen thing. And I was look back on that, and I paid off my student loan. I was always thinking I was going to have to get a side job, but luckily, like, I thought I would have to find something like a day job, but luckily I paid that off. I didn't have that loan. I was like on a fresh slate, and I was just there and being present, and just the opportunities it presented. Like that year was just like insane. The people I got to meet. And so I spent, like 4 years in Alberta, 3 years in Calgary, 1 year in Edmonton, and 3 in Calgary. And then finally now I'm to Nashville. So
If
it's always been the plan was to get like a head start, because being 20, you have to be 21 to go into the bars, most of the places to play in the States and everything, right? So I was like, when I'm 18, I'm going to spend that time in Alberta learning and developing. That way, when I go to Nashville, I'll be ready. So it's kind of been like part of the journey, but the pandemic put like a 2-year delay in it, but we're still getting there.
Okay, if that is not a sign, I don't know what the heck is.
Right? Yeah, I
That,
couldn't believe that. We still
wow.
look back at that and laugh.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. See, when stuff like that happens, people might say it's a coincidence, but to me and probably to you too, it's not a coincidence. Like that
No, no
happened
way.
for a specific reason, and that's the reason why it happened. So you graduated high school 2015. Are you 97?
I am, yeah.
Ah, 97. Me
Oh,
too.
sweet. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
of
yeah.
a kinds.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Honestly,
you bet.
you know what? This is so off topic here, but I'll just say this because going to college after high school is so like nerve wracking, especially when you don't know what you want to do because there's so much pressure on you, like so much
Yeah.
pressure on you. And especially when you decide to take like this type of route where it's like I want to be a musician or I want to be an artist or whatever, or a dancer. Everybody kind of like shuns it and they're just like, I don't think you should be doing that. You should be getting into like a realistic job or so on and so forth. So I love how you just said, you know what, screw it. This is what I'm going to do. And you just went for
Yeah.
it because that's what everybody needs to be doing with their life. If they love something, just do it and just give it everything you got and you will not regret it.
Yeah, I just kind of always had that thought too. I don't want to like look back and say I never did it, and you know, and I don't want to like I didn't want to get into the habit of like maybe I did graduate college and get a job and then just be like stuck here and be like looking back when I'm 80 and say I never even tried it. Like I said, I'm gonna do it now, and still I may fail. Who knows? There's still I still have like a bit of a 10-year plan here, and we'll see where we're at the end of that. Um, but like obviously I have goals in life to like one day have family and stuff. But right now it's like the way our generation works is like with the opportunity we have. Like my grandpa's he sings country music, and like most country artists, the grandpas play, and I just think like the guy was so talented and gifted, but his age back and when he was my age, they didn't have the power of social media. They could like post something and overnight it could go viral, or they could release the greatest song where people could just be texting it to each other and it could just like take off. Like you never know, like the power of social media, what we have in our generation is just incredible. It sucks sometimes, obviously, but it's like as artists and small business owners, it's like it's such an opportunity, and no matter what, whether it's music, whether it's starting your own business, we have like the world in the palm of our hand right now because we can connect with so many people. And so I'm just like throughout my 20s I just want to be working as hard as I can at this, and just there's nothing more I want to do, and I want to kind of spend these next while working hard at this. So
It's pretty crazy when you think about it and how what the power of social media has. Like you could post the dumbest video on TikTok and it
yep.
can explode and you can be like an overnight sensation and like you have a bunch of
And
followers,
you
people.
see that a tons of times too, which has been awesome with like tons of artists, and it's great because there's no honestly I don't think there's a better time to be an independent artist too, because if you can turn these people who like your music into real fans who will show up to the shows and and really support everything you do, and it's like you can build a really big fan base on your own without all the marketing and funding you need from a big label or a team. Like you can do so much as an independent artist right now. It's all in our hands. Like it's just like it's a really cool time to be an artist.
And going off of what you were talking about your grandpa, we have a different opportunity than they had as well when it comes to like our family life and like because back then people would get married at like 21, 20, 19. Like they got married so
Yeah.
young and like they were just kind of thrown into something that they had to do to support the family. At least like with our generation, that's not like the norm. We can get married when we're like 30 years old or 29, 32.
Yeah.
So we can have all of our 20s to ourselves just to figure out who we are and to work our
Literally.
butts off, like you were saying, because that's what you really want to be doing in your 20s. Like you want to work hard, you want to get to where you want to be. And then finally, when you reach your 30s or your 40s, you can finally just say like, and just kind of relax at the same time and know that
Totally.
you accomplished so much within like the beginning of your life. Because we're 24 years old. Like we have
Literally, yeah.
so much time. Like it's pretty crazy,
I
pretty
think it's great. It's like our our generation, like these 90s babies are all kind of growing up in that. And I think it's like we're the start of it, but it's like it's just like the opportunity. Like you see all these people like our age who are influencers and stuff. It's just like good for them. Even if they're like they may not be an artist, but if they have like a million people following them and they can go on and say, hey, I like this product, you guys should get it. And 10,000 people buy it and they make $10 on each one. Good for them. Like good for them for just being funny and a personality online that people like to follow. Like
Yeah.
it's 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 weird to think of, but it's just like what our world's come to, and it's such an opportunity if you want to be the kind of person who takes advantage of it.
Yeah. If it works for you, it works for you. Then kudos to you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now just flipping back to some music here. So musical idols. You were saying that your grandpa plays music. So now who did you grow up listening to then?
It was always old country for me. It still is. I don't listen to it. One thing about me, I don't listen to anything but country. I'm one of those artists that like I don't go like, oh, I grew up listening. I literally don't know like I mean I would know like the major hits from like our warm ups in hockey and stuff like all the AC/DC songs and stuff, but like I would not know like what band singing is. I literally listen to country. I write country. I like when I'm driving, I just listen to country music. Um, so it was always old country for me, like George Jones, Travis Tritt, all that stuff was always my big influences. And then obviously with the new modern era, I have a lot of like different vibes, which is good. Like being a big fan of like Old Dominion and Ryan Hurd, like that's kind of always been the my kind of style as I am is not so cowboy country. I think it's part of not being a pure cowboy, and I'll admit it, right? But but I just love the storytelling aspect of country music, and yeah, it's always just been something that I love. So, but that's one rare fact about me, I think, is that I just don't listen to anything else.
You know what? I love that. Okay. I honestly love that. If you come in my Jeep, all I play is country music as
Just
well.
country music. That's
Don't,
good.
yeah, so don't I completely my friends hate me, but I'm like I love me because I love country and I love driving my little Jeep that I call Nash because Nashville, so like
Heck yeah.
yeah. And now who's an artist that you would love to work with? Because you named quite a few older artists. Would one of them fall into that category?
Yeah, I guess. But like obviously it'd be cool like work with somebody who I've idolized for a while. And you see like Corey Marks, for example, work with Travis Tritt. I thought that was just really cool to see a Canadian guy who's been killing it just working with Travis Tritt. Obviously, that was like wow, because he's one of or Travis Tritt's one of my biggest idols, right, growing up. But for me, there's obviously now I've fell in love with songwriting so much that I really, really want to work with like Hardy and Ernest. Those two guys are like two of my biggest songwriting idols, especially Hardy. I mean, you see him around Nashville sometimes, and it's just like, man, I just wish they could just be like, yo, can we grab a guitar right now and just write a hit? Because the guy is incredible. And but I just love all the writing style. And it's kind of writing the sound of what I'm working on. And like I said, like another thing about like that I love about being a country artist and only listening to country is that when I write this many songs, like I'm not listening to them go, oh, I love this song. It's like I would actually listen to this song. Like if I write something, I'm like, I like this song. So I think it helps me with selecting singles and stuff like that too. It's like, well, if I heard this by somebody else, I'd turn it up because I have a pure ear for it. If I like, because of the style of country I like, I believe it's good. So, so it also helps like picking songs and stuff too. So, and in writing sessions too, but altogether it's just like, yeah, I think it all together ties into like styles too. I know what kind of writing style I like, and but yeah, totally. I think it would be Hardy if I had to pick who I could collab with this year.
The amount of times I've heard people say Hardy is just like, okay, I would be a millionaire by now. Everybody loves Hardy. I mean, I love Hardy as well. I mean, there's just something about his music that is so it's different. It's like unique, but it's so catchy and it's just so country at the same time. It works well. Like they're artists nowadays are very smart when it comes to how they develop songs and the songwriting part of it, the instrument part of it, like all of that. I mean, because now country music is so diverse. You can literally do country pop, country rap, country R&B if you want to throw that in there too. I mean, there's so many different routes you can take with country now rather than just the traditional country that like our parents used to listen to. So I think that's something that's so awesome about country music is how
It's
diverse
true.
it can be nowadays.
Oh yeah, it's all over, right? You can hear these like collabs with like these EDM people and
Yes,
or
exactly.
like we did a show at Calgary Stampede 2018 I want to say with Lil Nas X like the year he had Old Town Road we got to open for him and it was just like he was just blowing up with Old Town Road, and it's just like, or yeah, Old Town Road, and he just like came out and he sang it in like 5 different styles. So he did it the regular version, then he did a reggae version of it. He did like a real country cowboy version. It was just like an Old Town Road show for 15 minutes. It's just really cool. It's just like because that's country. Like everything's just country now, so it's just cool. Like you can be, but I really believe, even though everyone's still saying, and this is what I really believe about country is that everyone's still saying that it's like there's so many different ways you can go with it, but the truth of it all is that it's still all the country music is still telling a story.
Now, you've performed at many Canadian country music festivals. So, which one would you say was your favorite?
Uh, I guess they all like stood out for different reasons. My first major one was Big Valley Jamboree, which was really cool in Alberta. To play there. Uh, For me, still the win was Cavendish Beach Music Festival out here in PEI because it was just I got to play the main stage. Like I played the usually the B stages at all these other festivals, but I got to play the main stage, which is so cool. And it was obviously like a homecoming show. It was I released my debut single that January all over it, and then that summer I was playing the main stage at this Cavendish Beach Music Festival. So it was just like I was in Alberta the whole time, playing shows, promoting the single, and then it was like first time coming home, and then it was like it was packed, and it was all people that I like, a lot of people I recognized in the crowd, and they were all like singing the words to my song. It was like the first time I kind of felt that, and it was like a homecoming show. So I'll never forget that one. I have that one like a picture with me with my band with the crowd, and I have it like framed in my room, and it's just like a moment I'll never forget. But they all have different like different things that stood out, like your first and also like the homecoming one. But yeah, they're all different in their own ways. But I think I still have to give the best one to Cavendish. Obviously, it's the hometown show.
I mean, that's a fair answer. And the Cavendish, it's full circle. That's what it is. And I mean, everybody who came out to watch you perform, they're probably just all so proud of you, like thinking, wow, he made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was cool. Like I think about it this way too. Is like I flew out to Alberta on Boxing Day, where I stayed home for Christmas, and I flew out the next day to go to Alberta when I was like when I said when I was 18, and I had no music out, and I was just like I my last gig I played was December 17th at our local bar with my local band, and we just like I was just like the electric guitar player, just sang on the side. And then I flew to Alberta, and I haven't played a show back home since. And then my next show back home was 2 years later in front of like 4,000 people right in front of me, and on a big stage like that. And I flew all my band from Alberta, and like it was like Carrie Underwood was on the bill and Eric Church, and I was just like playing on the stage. It was just like crazy to go from like my last show I played in this province was a little pub with 50 of you, and now there's just like a massive crowd. It's just it was like, yeah, like you said, a big turnaround. So it was like really humbling, I guess. It's just like, wow, this is starting to work. I guess we're doing something right. It's like one of those feelings.
Did you get to meet any of the artists who performed there?
I did, yeah. I opened up for Hunter Hayes when he played on the main stage. So Hunter was sound checking before I was, and so then we, in between our sound checks, like my drummer and his drummer were trading off all their gear and like swapping and stuff. So Hunter and I just got to have like great chat, and we chatted about like PI Lobster and connected with him, and which is cool because he's just like, yeah, here, reach out to me when you're in Nashville, and he's a really nice guy. And obviously I get to meet a ton of the artists just hanging around backstage all weekend and stuff like that. But yeah, it was cool. But it was definitely cool. Just like literally just had like a 30-minute chat with Hunter. So it was cool.
I mean, it's still kind of a surreal feeling too when you listen to people constantly. Then when you finally get to meet them, it's just like, I'm not fangirling, but this is just a really awesome experience. And then you form like a
Yeah.
with them, and that's awesome. He told you that whenever you go to Nashville to like reach out to him. Like, it's nice to hear other artists being so like down to earth and humbled like that, because I mean there's a lot of different artists and even actors who are kind of like more on the snotty side, where it's like don't step on my toes type of thing. So it's
You
nice
get
to
that right.
hear that. Pardon?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one cool thing about country. I feel like, I know, like, I mean, not trying to bash other genres stuff, but you hear stuff like people don't collab as much in other genres like they do in country. Like, you
Yeah.
co-write with like 3 different artists, and you're like, if you write a crazy amazing song, it's not like everyone's gonna be in a fight to try to cut it. It's gonna be like, okay, well, let's figure this out. But like all these, like, I just feel like it's such a big collab in like our genre. Everyone's just so friendly and collab, and so it's been nice, I guess, so far. I haven't really had many bad experiences. So
Same. I haven't had any bad experiences either, so I can't say anything. But so far,
yeah,
it seems like such a nice family. That's what it really feels like.
totally. Yeah, it's really cool. And it's been cool for me. I've only like kind of been seriously in the industry for a couple of years now, and most of it's been the pandemic. Like the year before was kind of my debut year, so still get to hang with people virtually a lot, but I'm still kind of new at the thing too. And it's been like, just like welcoming. Everyone's been super cool with me, and it was great to go to CCMAs this year and just see everybody. It was like, wow, it's been so long. So it's good.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing from a lot of people going to the CCMAs this year. It was the first time that people have actually gone together because of the pandemic. For the 2 years that we've been through it, so many shows have gotten canceled. So it was finally like a nice outing for everybody to go and reconnect again. But on a brighter note, hopefully everything this year will be back to normal. Fingers crossed.
Let's hope. Yeah.
And then next year too. But speaking of this year, New Year's resolution. So we're already in January already, but what is your New Year's resolution for this year?
I set a lot of goals. I like, I'm a goal setter. I love doing that. One of my New Year's resolutions, like, I have like different aspects. Like, one of them is to improve in production. I random fact, I play like every instrument, so it's like not trying to like say that I play them all great, but I can get by playing them all. And but I am like just like a school music student, so I understand kind of the theory behind them all. So I really want to work on just working on production, because I think if I can learn to make my own demos, how much more of an asset as a songwriter that will be. If I can, write a song and be like, hey, give me the night, I'll make a cool demo of this, and sit down with my guitar, my bass, and then make a cool track, and then send it to the people and be like, here's a full band version of the song. So so I'm trying to like put time away every day to work on that. And my other one is to hit 100,000 followers on TikTok, because I haven't committed to it, and I've had like I haven't like committed to working hard at it, but I've posted the odd thing and stuff has blown up, and I'm like, okay, I need to actually focus in on this, because if I would put time away every day to sit down and work on it, I really think I could achieve that. So that's like my big goal. So if I make it for 2023 with 100K on there, it's because it was a resolution.
Okay, how many followers are you at now?
I think I only have like 6,000, but I will make it if I set my mind to it.
Yeah, I
As soon
keep
as I get back to Nashville here in 3 weeks, I really get back to my routine, where it's like, my wake up schedule, my practice schedule in the morning, get to the gym, get that all done early, and then sit down, work on my content, and then get my sessions done. So it's kind of nice to get back into a routine. So I know the New Year's kind of like started here, but because I had a bit of an extended stay home, my New Year doesn't start for another 3 weeks. So February 1st kind of feels like my New Year does, because I get back into my rotation of really grinding and hustling. Like, I'm still working virtually and stuff, but it's gonna be nice to get back to right here and get in a routine every day. So, and I think if I work hard, I can make that happen this year.
you could totally make that happen. I mean, you can make that happen overnight if you post the right
Well,
videos.
that's the thing, right? Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
it's all about what you post when you post it, and then the TikTok algorithm will just work its way. But you're completely right.
Incredible.
Your New Year's doesn't start until February 1st. That's literally just like us, because Ontario's in a lockdown. So
Correct.
yeah, so
Yeah.
technically our New Year's doesn't start until January 27th. So we still
It's
have.
hard to kind of get a routine until you have the routine in front of you, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with everything kind of shut down again, and especially the gyms, like a lot of people's New Year's resolution was to go work
is
out.
a gym.
Like, you can't work out. So my New Year's resolution is not going to start until I can work out. So
My resolution is going to be to go to the gym in February.
February, yeah.
Yeah.
It's too funny, but hopefully it'll be over by then. And this will just be in the history books and we'll get on with our lives.
Let's hope.
And now, before I let you go, Ben, we're going to play a little game I like to call Country with Celine Rapid Fire. So I'm going to shoot you a couple of this or that questions, okay?
This or that?
This
All
or
right,
that
cool.
questions, yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first one, a beach vacation or a ski vacation?
Beach.
Beach. Starbucks?
Such an ocean boy.
It's okay, that's fair. Starbucks or Tim Hortons?
Starbucks.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Whiskey or vodka?
Whiskey.
Texting or calling?
Calling.
And comedy or a horror film?
Comedy.
Comedy? Okay, good choice, good choice. Horror films
I
are
get scared too easy.
Yeah. Not fun, not fun. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for joining me today on Country with Celine. It was so awesome getting to know you, and I'm excited for what's to come this year, and I'm holding you to it, 100K by the end of the year on TikTok.
Hopefully.
And it's going to happen, and when it happens, we're going to be chatting about it, okay?
It may be till February 1st. I may need the full year, but we'll see what happens.
We'll give it to, yes, okay, that's fair. That's fair. February 2023.
All right, we'll see what happens.
Make a little love in my truck, girl. And later on tonight